All right. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy CK. This is about what 4 or 5 months of CKW all into one mega episode. So if I were you, I'd get your snacks, get your liquors. I'm gonna try and divide it up chapter wise for you guys so you can skip and go to what you want to get to. But if you want to get the full story of how certain people become champions or lose championships and stuff like that, I'd watch along. Also, if you are someone looking for your wrestler and they did not make it in this cut, I'm sorry. I had to keep it to the storylines that made sense towards the grand scheme of the CKW universe. So my apologies to you. So buckle up. This one gets crazy, and it all ends with our WrestleMania, if you will, of PLEs called Last Stand. Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. That's all I got. Play the music. Buckle up because we have a lot of wrestling in front of you, starting with Loco Lopez, who has a big match up against Bayley, where these two have continued their nonstop hate for one another, and they hope to end this in this match with Bayley starting things off aggressively against Loco Lopez, getting the big W. But if you know anything about Loco Justice Lopez, regardless if you win or lose, there will be an imprint, and you're seeing that Bayley, though gets the win, is toughing it out, suffers a rib injury in the match, getting the W, but at what cost for the young wrestlers?
Absolutely brutal contest for both of these athletes. Just have to keep your fingers crossed. But this is just typical in-ring damage and not something more severe.
Speaking of young wrestlers, Ace Rodriguez takes the stage to go up against one of the greats in Dean McCarthy this opening week. Dean McCarthy getting the best of Ace Rodriguez in this big match. But it looks like the win won't matter because our current champion, Magic, goes to the stage and takes out both wrestlers from this match. So a win at what cost? But what does this all mean? But we will find out later as Curtis King now enters the stage, as he's gonna go up against Havoc in a one-on-one. Curtis King hitting the coup de grace from the top rope, getting the victory. But look who is paying attention.
Devil Cole, we may get our answer now.
The champ was watching, and the champ is headed to the ring.
Rick Blade, the current Liberty champion, looking for his next challenger, and Rick Blade has always wanted to take out Curtis King. Rick Blade and Curtis King have had a long tenure together between the 2 seasons of CKW, and Rick Blade knows what kind of notch on his belt it would be taking out Curtis King and stopping him from getting the belt he has never won. But before that, the FRO facing off against the returning Lucian. Speaking of former rivalries, this one is one that will never go away. Lucian making his return after missing the first few months in the CKW, and his first challenger is gonna be the FRO. But Fro has not forgotten.
Way up there.
As he gets the quick victory and ruins the return of Lucian, and the big man Fro continues his great start. We closing out this week with Silas LaFleur in one-on-one action against Drip Messiah. We remember the battle between Curtis King, Silas LaFleur, and Drip Messiah at Cash Out, and now the residual effects as Drip Messiah won that match. Silas LaFleur believes he should have won. Gets the victory in this one-on-one, but look who's back. The champion, Magic, hitting Silas LaFleur upside of his head with his championship. And what does this all mean? Magic going after Dean McCarthy, Ace Rodriguez, and now Silas LaFleur. What could this all mean? I'm sure the champion will explain in the future. But in the following week, we have Adonis Galliano taking the stage to face off against Ben Wish, who makes his debut in the CKW. And he shows his all-grap style, goes for the submission, trying to earn the Submission King moniker as he takes out Adonis in his inaugural match, starting off 1-0. Oh, but as we saw one return earlier with Lucien, we see another as Kennedy Michaels returns in season 2 of CKW action as he faces off against the big Jerome Briggs. These two have had a few bouts in the first season, but now Kennedy Michaels, a new look with a new group of friends, looking to start things off strong as we see not only Havoc from Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate, but under that mask, it's Michael Te'o. Michael Te'o also with Kennedy Michaels joining the Syndicate, and now the Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate gets even bigger. But you know you can't attack a Crash Out Club member without any repercussions, as we see Owen Dallas immediately take the stage without even a confirmation from the GM. He wants revenge. Goes right after Michael Te'o, who was a part of the beatdown on Jerome Briggs, and we know that Jerome and Owen Dallas are tag team members, and Owen not gonna let that fly. Owen Dallas doesn't care who you're with, what you're wearing. Owen Dallas gets the revenge that he wants, takes out Michael Te'o, and moves on. But we're going to see what's next here between the Crash Out Club and Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate. But here we are with Ace Rodriguez rocking a shirt in honor of his great friend Flapjack Larry. He takes the stage and he's going up against Silas LaFleur. Now, after the countless attacks last week, Magic sent out a tweet saying that he has officially chosen Silas LaFleur, Dean McCarthy, and Ace Rodriguez to all see him in a gauntlet match for his belt, officially giving Magic the hardest defense to date. But will any three of these wrestlers take advantage of the opportunity? And we're seeing Silas LaFleur wasting no time against his old friend, but now rival Dean McCarthy as he enters the stage. Silas stops everything to make sure that he makes Dean's life hell, but Dean McCarthy is going to get the last laugh and gets the pin count on Silas LaFleur, making it a 3-man match. Dean focusing on Ace Rodriguez to give himself the best opportunity. Takes out Ace Rodriguez, but Magic doesn't care. Immediately hitting him with the bat, going for the jugular, throws Dean into the turnbuckle, gets the 3 count, and Magic survives the gauntlet and continues to reign as a CKW World Heavyweight Champion. What a run it has been for one Magic. But we're moving on to the next week of this month as Game Hunter now set to get on stage to go up against Owen Dallas. Remember, there is beef going on between Owen Dallas and the Crash Out Club and the Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate. Game Hunter, one half of the tag team champions between him and Victor Kruger, and Owen Dallas wants what he has, but Game Hunter, who has been on a nice tear, humbles Owen Dallas, the current Run Me Your Money briefcase holder, and gets the victory. But we'll see what this turns into going forward. Rick Blade now takes the stage as he's going to face off against Curtis King to defend his CKW Liberty Championship. Curtis King this season hasn't won singles gold yet, but in his entire career, he has never even held the Liberty Championship in general. And if there's anybody that would want to spoil that, it would be Rick Blade. We're seeing Rick Blade and Curtis King already start off with another. We're seeing immediately Curtis King and Rick Blade start off with a phenomenal match between the two. Curtis King doing what he does, taking things to the skies, taking things to the air. But Rick Blade does a great job humbling the King, keeping him down, setting up for a perk slam. Will Curtis even give him the opportunity to get to that point? These two struggling on the rope. What a combo there from Blade.
Their opponent looking to bring them back in the hard way. Slingshot!
But with a quick reversal, Curtis gets Rick Blade on the ground. He goes for the frog splash, knows that it's not enough. Back to the top rope. What is he gonna end this with? He's gonna go for the glorifying stomp. Curtis King, can he become the CKW Liberty Champion? 1, 2, 3, he does. Rick Blade, after holding the championship for 169 days, loses the belt to Curtis King, and for the first time in his career becomes the CKW Liberty champion. And in what fashion, as the new champion celebrates with the crowd. It's been a jam-packed month of title defenses, and we couldn't talk title defenses without the tag team belts being on the line. The Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate putting their tag team belts on the line against one of the greatest tag teams in CKW this season, the Crash Out Club. And this battle will go down to the wire. Jerome Briggs grabbing Game Hunter, throwing him down, but Game Hunter recovering immediately, going after Briggs, bringing in Victor Kruger to finish the job, and he will do just that as the Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate hold on to retain the tag team championships. And you got to imagine, with adding the veteran Game Hunter, this has created one of the greater tag teams that we can talk about in the future. But to close out this week, we're gonna see some fatal four-way action with a group of our newest wrestlers and returning wrestlers: Ben Wish, Lucien, Michael Te'ao, and one of the newest wrestlers to join the company, Brody Daniels. Brody Daniels getting the contract after we got word on the retirement of Bailey. Brody Daniels immediately taking his spot, the Egyptian wrestler looking to make a name for himself. But in this battle, it is going to be all over the place. Every one of these guys looking to get things started on the right track. Ben Wish already getting his first victory in the company. Can he get another one in a multi-man match? Typically, these kind of matches aren't set for wrestlers like him, who likes the tactical and the technical style, but gets a big boot to the chin of Brody Daniels, and in his debut takes a loss as Ben Wish continues his winning ways, starting off 2-0 in his young career. But with all of that in the WWE world, it is Royal Rumble time, and Triple H has extended an invitation to the CKW to get their own Royal Rumble match, to be a part of the shenanigans at Royal Rumble, where we will see a CKW only Royal Rumble in front of a WWE audience. So big shout outs to the WWE and Triple H on the invitation. I'm sure that the CKW wrestlers will not disappoint. But who is going to start? Well, we got our answer early, because the FRO immediately put his name in the hat to start this thing off and be the #1 participant in the Royal Rumble, wanting to prove himself as an Iron Man. And also, Brody Daniels put his name in the hat to go #2. So the new guy looking to prove himself against one of the top competitors in CKW. Will it be honorable, or is it just plain stupid? We're going to find out, but Brody Daniels and the FRO doing a great job. But unfortunately for Brody, the #3 entrant is going to be Fro's homie, the new CKW Liberty champion, Curtis King. And the two of them do a great job teaming up together against all the participants that enter the ring. But it would not end that way, as Victor Kruger, who enters later on, who gets the elimination on Curtis King, and his night is over early. And here comes Jerome Briggs looking for an elimination of his own, gets rid of Michael Te'ao. We see Dean McCarthy get rid of Game Hunter, and then Ben Wish continuing his hot streak. He gets rid of Ace Rodriguez. So eliminations are happening fast and in a hurry. But look who is still going, the FRO. Fro still handling business on his own. We see Jerome Briggs get eliminated. We see Fro doing what we would expect as he helps Dean McCarthy get the elimination on Lucien. And things are just all over the place. Kennedy Michaels getting an elimination. Kennedy Michaels now also trying to get the elimination of Fro. Fro surviving it. Silas LaFleur kicking him in the back of the head. But now it's Kennedy Michaels, Silas LaFleur, big boot to the chin. Out goes Silas LaFleur, and not much longer after that, Kennedy Michaels getting rid of the Dean. Kennedy Michaels might be back, but he might not know that those two are not a part of Pretty Petty anymore. But he wanted to get them out of here as soon as possible. But his luck will run out as Owen Dallas gets rid of Kennedy Michaels. And now the numbers are starting to whittle down as Loco Justice Lopez gets rid of the #1 entrant, ending the long extended night of the FRO. Drip Messiah gets the back-to-back elimination, sending out Loco Lopez, and it is just all kinds of craziness as we have 3 wrestlers left in the ring until Rick Blade joins the fray, but he would not have a partner for long as Owen Dallas gets eliminated. Now Rick Blade going for Ben Wish, and he gets help from his old pal in Drip Messiah, and it's a one-on-one for the opportunity to challenge whoever they want at Last Stand. The winner here gets a shot at the title. And who could it be? Rick Blade trying to solidify that the belt stays with the Crash Out Club. As we know, Magic is our current champion. And if Rick Blade earns this right, then one way or another, the belt stays with the Crash Out Club. But Drip Messiah, who has been on the wrong side of things, looking to get a desperate win and get a chance at the belt. But at the end of the day, the better of the two has won. Rick Blade wins the Rumble, and he has booked his ticket to get a championship shot at CKW Last Stand. But the question is, will it be against Magic, or will we have a new champion by that point? We'll find out as a new month begins, and we're starting off with our number 1 participant, FRO, who had a great run, and he sees himself in action with Dean McCarthy. Dean McCarthy, who did a great job in the Rumble as well as the FRO, but more importantly, Dean trying to get the better of the FRO. Winner here is going to get a title opportunity, and Fro wants to earn that shot, and he will get that winning over Dean McCarthy. And look who was watching. Magic entering the ring, seeing the FRO, feeling confident, feeling like he deserves his shot. Magic looks right at him. He says, look, buddy, you remember how the Iron Man match went last time? I swept you, beat you 2-0. You really think you deserve another shot? FRO staying confident, Magic staying confident, and we will be getting a rematch between these two. Next up, though, we have Ace Rodriguez entering the ring with the crowd going absolutely insane, loving the young babyface, but he's going to go up against the new guy in Brody Daniels. Brody Daniels trying to earn the respect of the audience and his peers, and a win against one of the fan favorites would definitely help his cause. Doing a great job against Ace Rodriguez, dropping from the top rope, drops the leg, but it wouldn't be enough because Ace would survive and get the win over Brody Daniels. And look who's watching. The new CKW Liberty champion Curtis King, paying attention to one of his young proteges in Ace Rodriguez, fellow high flyers, and we could see the two of them square off for the belt in the near future. But we'll find out more about that later as a new faction makes its appearance in the CKW, Legacy Inc. That is comprised of members brought together by Loco Lopez, starting with him and Ben Wish. They're going up against the newest crew in Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate in Kennedy Michaels and Michael Teao. Both of these teams looking to get opportunities for tag team gold, as they already have tag team gold in Dreams and Nightmares, but that means nothing because Michael Teao and Kennedy Michaels handle the new Legacy Inc. quickly and in a hurry. Speaking of tag team action, one of the most boneheaded things that could happen in CKW will be happening this week, as the current champ and the former champ Rick Blade and Magic are going to face off against Silas LaFleur in a handicap match. Silas LaFleur believes that the Crash Out Club is just nothing but a bunch of phonies. We know Silas LaFleur loves to take to Twitter and let his Twitter finger do the talking, but this, an honorable opportunity, taking on two of the toughest competitors, not only in the Crash Out Club, but in the CKW. And will Silas LaFleur come out victorious and put his money where his mouth is? And this match is going a lot better than a lot of people would believe. Silas LaFleur getting the better of these two. He's going for the pin count. Magic goes for the save, but hits Margaret in the process, and she is down and out. And while she is confused and unconscious, Silas LaFleur dealing all kinds of damage to the former CKW Liberty champion. He is ready for the pin count. Margaret's not up yet. She finally gets back up. Silas has an opportunity to do the unthinkable, and he does. What a display by Silas LaFleur, taking out the champion and the former champ. What is this going to mean for Silas in the future? But he called his shot, and he was not wrong. But as we enter a new week, we have another new tag team joining the fray. The FRO taking Adonis Galliano under his wing, forming the Dynasty. And this tag team could be something to talk about in the future. A lot of tag teams finally joining the tag team scene as Dreams and Nightmare Syndicate have run things. And speaking of Dreams and Nightmare Syndicate, they're going to go right after this new tag team off rip. The belts are not on the line, but with a win here, we could see the Dynasty get a shot at the belts in the future. Adonis Galliano, though, doing a great job here under the tutelage of the FRO, but it's not going to be an easy feat when it comes to a match against the current tag team champions. Victor Kruger's looked really good alongside Game Hunter, doing a great job here in this match, but we're seeing some good tag team efforts between the FRO and Adonis Galliano. And guess what? Your winners are the Dynasty. Dynasty gets the W, and to add insult to injury, they send Game Hunter outside of the ring and celebrate with the audience, and we could be seeing the hottest new tag team in the division going forward, earning themselves a championship match in the near future. Silas LaFleur, who was accompanied by Uncle Ben, feeling good after his big win against both Rick Blade and Magic. But now the Crash Out Club showing the numbers game as Owen Dallas, the enforcer, ready to go back out there and go one-on-one against Silas LaFleur, saying, "You think taking them out ends this? We end this when we say so." The catchphrase by the Crash Out Club, and Owen Dallas letting the clock run out. He is uttering all the damage that you could imagine, knowing that there's 8 seconds left. He doesn't care about a clean victory. He just wants the victory. Oh, he's going to do it. Right at the 9 count, slides back into the ring after dealing a lot of damage and gets the count out win. A win is a win is a win, but the Crash Out Club back on top. And what is next for Silas LaFleur with the Crash Out Club? Curtis King, though, set for a triple threat match after Brody Daniels surprised a lot of folks, getting a win over Curtis King. So now we're seeing ourselves a triple threat match, and Brody could slip himself right into the CKW Liberty Championship contention. But what's gonna happen here as Ace Rodriguez gets the hit on Curtis?
Oh man, what a hurricane!
Going after the pin. Curtis King and Ace Rodriguez trying to focus on one another, going one-on-one, back and forth. Brody Daniels looking to take advantage of the two not focusing on him. Ace gets the best of him. A claymore to the face of Ace Rodriguez. Curtis King already down, can't do anything about it. And look who steals a win amongst the rivalry between Ace Rodriguez and Curtis King. Will he get a chance at the belt in the near future? Speaking of winning, Ben Wish, who has been on the hottest of streaks, goes out there to go up against one of the hottest talents in CKW, Rick Blade, who has been a busy man this week. And now it's one-on-one action between Perk Blade and the tactician Ben Wish. Ben Wish, though, not wasting any time, keeping things in the ring, keeping things on the mat. Nothing but graps when it comes to Ben Wish, but you know who can play that game just as well? Rick Blade. It's not very often you see these two move away from the center of the ring because things are straight graps with these two throughout this entire match. And this match definitely showing to be one of the nominees for match of the year, as Ben Wish and Rick Blade put on an absolute 5-star banger. But nonetheless, the rookie Ben Wish takes the loss, and Rick Blade gets the victory. Rick Blade just out here doing side quests, but it was a great match nonetheless. Next up, we see the FRO after the tag team victory with Adonis Galliano, still looking to get something that has eluded him his entire career, and that is the CKW World Heavyweight Championship. He earned the opportunity. He's getting another opportunity. And Magic feeling so confident, he's looking for the Iron Man rematch. These two who just faced off in an Iron Man match at Cash Out will be going for round 2. Can Fro get it done this time? Now, we know in the first time these two faced off, Fro didn't even get 1 pin count. Will that be the case again in this match, or will Fro finally get the job done? Looking like the aggressor that he is so far, gets the drop. Fro notices that they're at a 9 count. He gets to the ring just in time, and the count out will count as a pin for Fro as he holds the 1 pin lead. Magic, though, getting right to work to tie things up, dealing out all the damage possible, finally ties things up. He gets the pin count of his own with this match tied up 1-1. But it's looking like it might stay this way, as this match has been even, back and forth, neither wrestler able to get that next pin count. Fro trying to go for the pin, gets out of the 2. Magic trying to get the pin, Fro gets out of the 2. As we have 10 seconds left in the match, with the match tied, this will end in a draw. And with a draw, it means that Magic retains his championship. And we don't know when Fro will get another chance at the belt in the near future. We move on to a big week of championship title defenses as the Dynasty take their first shot at the tag team titles. FRO, Adonis Galliano taking on the Dreams and Nightmare Syndicate of Game Hunter and Victor Kruger. Can the new tag team dethrone the current champions and start a new legacy in the tag team division? And the way that things started off, it looked like these two have definitely been putting work together outside of just matching hairspray. Damn! Beautiful set of combos, great teamwork, great synergy between the two wrestlers to start things off, where many in the crowd believe that the Dynasty might start their takeover. Victor Kruger finally getting himself going to Fro denying him. We know the back and forth that Fro and Victor Kruger have gone through in the past, and speaking of back and forth, a great reverse from Victor Kruger, and it felt like from that moment forward, the tag team champions saw their moment, took advantage. Big tag from Game Hunter, big combo from the duo, and the 1, 2, 3 leads to the Dreams and Nightmare Syndicate retaining their tag team championships. Very excited to see what's next for the Dynasty, but unfortunate loss here as they continue their run. But from one defense we go to another as Curtis King defends his new Liberty Championship against the hot upstart in Ace Rodriguez, who has been taking over the scene, getting the nod from the champion himself in an early on gauntlet match for the belt. But now can Ace on his own get his first singles gold against somebody that he looks up to in the veteran Curtis King, or will this be a successful first defense for the champion? This is going to be a high-flying match between these two, as the movesets are very similar between the two, not just the fits with the black and gold. And things definitely started that way. Ace Rodriguez knew when it comes to Curtis King, you have to start fast and in a hurry, and he does just that, having the champion reeling and the crowd believing that there could be a turn of champion here. Better use that table right.
Be in trouble.
But he just cannot get past the 2 count when it comes to the champ. One final opportunity for Ace Rodriguez, reversed and countered by Curtis King. He drops the challenger, goes for an amazing moonsault off of the top rope, gets the 1, 2, 3, and in a high-flying defense, the champion remains just that, as Curtis King looks to match, if not overshine, the long championship run of Rick Blade prior. But after a week of championship matches, now we're seeing the hot upstart in Brody Daniels going up against Alexander the Great, who is starting to turn heads. Alexander the Great is turning heads over at Legacy Inc. And if he can get a big win here, we might see a good push for him in the future.
Determined superstars on the roster today.
Certainly determined. We'll see about that.
My man Alexander looked like he got a rock concert after this. But now might not be that time. Brody Daniels, who was able to take out both Ace Rodriguez and Curtis King in the previous triple threat, wins this big matchup against ATG. And look who was watching. Fresh off of a championship defense, he's ready for another as he gives Brody Daniels the one-on-one shot that he rightfully earned. Curtis King, Brody Daniels, a defense that could surprise a lot of people with the fresh hot start from the young Egyptian wrestler. But next up we have our champion in Magic, ready to set the table for what's next after a huge Iron Man win against the FRO. He has made the announcement that he will put his belt on the line against wrestlers of his choice in a gauntlet match in which he will be starting at number 1. Stay tuned and we'll see if Magic is able to survive the toughest defense of his career. Before we could even get into that, for some reason, Loco Justice Lopez going after Adonis Galliano prior to his match, trying to interfere with a big match that he has. We have security, we have referee Otis trying to break it up, but no one is sure why Loco Lopez is interfering. Outside of him going up against his own Legacy Inc. member, Ace Rodriguez, there's a lot of question in the building as to why Loco is so furious with Adonis. But even with the attack to start off the match, though Ace Rodriguez looked good in this one, Adonis Galliano is going to stay strong. Going for the submission hold win, he forces Ace to tap out and he turns his focus to the top of the ramp where Loco Lopez never left and was waiting throughout the entire match. Now Adonis ready to throw hands and send some words in his direction. Even with Otis trying to beg and plead for him to not go outside of the ring, Adonis makes his way to Loco Lopez. The question here is, what is the motive? What is Loco Lopez going after here? Why attacking Adonis Galliano? We're gonna have to find out in the future, because if he wanted to fight, he got one. Adonis Galliano, Loco Lopez being split up by security, not enough security when it comes to Lopez, gets a few more hits in and these two will finally be separated. But with that, we move on as Adonis's tag team partner, the FRO, goes on a one-on-one against Victor Kruger to help try and earn another tag team opportunity for the Dynasty yet again against Dreams and Nightmare Syndicate. The FRO doing just that, gets the win over Victor Kruger, and now we're going to see if they set the table for another chance at the belt. But speaking of the belt, it's time for the biggest match of Brody Daniels' young career. He just got here, goes undefeated, taking out the champion himself in a triple threat match, and is ready to be your new Liberty champion. But is Curtis King ready to give it up? This match, though, starting off with how it seems like a lot of matches with Curtis King do. You see that the competitors, the challengers, start off fast, looking like they're going to get the better of the champion, and it takes time for Curtis to get himself going. But when he does, he never looks back. Another glorifying stomp from the champion earns him yet another defense twice in the same month, and our champion remains just that. Phenomenal effort from Brody Daniels, but he's going to have to try again in the future. But now we move back to the saga between Loco Lopez and Adonis Galliano. Now with Fro catching on to see what had happened between Adonis and Loco Lopez, he was not a fan, issued a challenge against Legacy Inc. immediately as Ben Wish and Loco Lopez tag team together to face off against the Dynasty, and it is not going the direction that you might think it would be. The Dynasty having a tough go to start things off as Legacy Inc., the duo of Ben Wish and Loco Lopez, ends up working out with Ben Wish getting the pin count over Adonis Galliano, and it seems like there is just a overlying beef with Adonis between Legacy Inc. Still no words on why it is, but Legacy Inc. survived the attack from the Dynasty. But survival does not end there, as Silas LaFleur has had enough of Havoc. Silas LaFleur trying to set amends with Havoc, who he thought was his buddy at one time. Havoc swerving him on many occasions, and Silas LaFleur finally catching the hint and has had enough of the one-sided friendship and now goes after the jugular. Before the bell could even officially ring, Silas asserting his dominance. We remember the one-on-one cage match between Silas and Victor Kruger that did not end in Silas's favor, so he is not going to take any chances. Havoc, though, even after the early cheap shot from Silas LaFleur, turns this around and gets the victory. But right now, one of the biggest gauntlet matches, one of the biggest title defenses, one of the biggest moments for our current CKW World Heavyweight Champion. It is Magic taking on 3 wrestlers of his choosing. And the difference between this gauntlet and the last one, Magic will be starting off to survive the gauntlet for his belt. The Crash Out Club have been getting reckless as of late, and this starts at the head of the table. Magic's first opponent in this gauntlet is going to be Alexander the Great. We talked about it earlier on, how Alexander the Great has been turning heads in the CKW landscape and now getting an opportunity at the championship. But Magic was not even going to give him a chance to let his dream be a reality. With a quick spear. Even though Alexander the Great had a few moments where he thought that there was an opportunity and a chance for him to get the big victory, Magic turned things around. Oh my! Spinning punch to the chin earns the 1, 2, 3, and Alexander the Great may not have won, but definitely have more people paying attention to him. But next up is the tough and the 2-time champion, Dean McCarthy. If there was going to be any challenge in this gauntlet for Magic, this would be the one. Dean McCarthy thirsty for his 3rd title in just a short space of time with CKW. But can he ruin the dreams? Can he ruin the plan of the Crash Out Club member Magic in this title defense?
Playbooks to the team.
Magic looking like he has handled Dean McCarthy cleanly, but he survives the 2 count. Magic cannot believe it. Not much left in the tank for Magic, and don't forget there's still one more competitor after this one, so he has to survive Dean and survive whoever is next if he gets the chance. Going for the 1, 2, 3, and for the first time in over half a year, Magic has been pinned in a title defense. Now it comes down to the last entrant and Dean McCarthy to find out who our next champion is. And the last entrant is fresh off of a loss against Curtis King for the title, is Ace Rodriguez. Not able to get the Liberty Championship, but he has an opportunity here to get the World Heavyweight Championship, and he is not wasting his opportunity. Back and forth between these two, and Dean McCarthy looking like his veteran prowess is going to be enough to get him the title. Penis, bro.
They've got something else in mind here for their opponent. It was all force.
But Ace Rodriguez says not so fast, lining him up for the frog splash. Will that be enough?
We might be moments away from crowd.
For the 1, 2, 3, it is an Ace Rodriguez. After a long run of Willie Cuddy, it is now official. Our new champion for the first time in what feels like ages is Ace Rodriguez, bringing the championship to Legacy Inc. alongside Loco Lopez and Ben Wish. With the championship landscape changing, can that happen for the tag team championship as well? Now we're seeing 2 of Silas LaFleur's former enemies side by side, both in the same stable as Victor Kruger and Havoc, the original Dreams and Nightmares tag team to start off this season, back together in a huge tag team battle against Silas LaFleur. But Silas LaFleur would not be alone in this match. Silas LaFlair taking to Twitter, sending out a tweet saying, "Enough of all this ugly. Who's pretty enough to be my new tag team partner? Sign the form of my bio." And he did, in fact, have a form in his bio to be signed with no signatures going his way except for one.
And here he comes.
And it's from the current CKW Liberty champion, Curtis King, who responded to the tweet saying, "Looks like I'm the only signature. See you Wednesday." Curtis King, Silas LaFlair have had their back and forth for 2 seasons now, and this is probably one of the most unlikely tag teams that you could ever have come up on. Will this work out, or is this going to go as a lot of people expect and backfire for poor Silas LaFlair? Can Curtis hold his bargain? We're going to see, as Curtis started things off against Victor Kruger and started things off fast and in a hurry, but Victor Kruger, who is one half of the current tag team champions, looked aggressive and ready to handle business, throwing Curtis King against the turnbuckle and trying to utter all the damage to the current CKW Liberty champion. Havoc and Victor Kruger, though, looking like the tag team that we remember, doing a great deal of damage. They remember Curtis King, as him and the FRO gave them fits to start off this new season, and they seem to be taking it all out on Curtis King. So the beef is not just towards Silas, it's also towards Curtis. Curtis finally gained the hot tag to Silas LaFlair, but does Silas LaFlair have enough to get the job done? Because the momentum is already on the current tag team champion side. Tagging Curtis back in, these two now going for their first combo. Again, these two in their first tag team match together, so the chemistry is probably not going to be at the same level, but now tagging Curtis back in, Curtis now getting a good groove, doing the same thing, setting up another move set for the two to work on together, dropping Victor Kruger, and the momentum is shifting towards the new tag team group. Well, it was, because now Silas LaFlair getting a taste of the same medicine Curtis got to start off the match, but this time it would be more unfortunate.
Pump handle locked in.
Victor Kruger gets the drop on Silas LaFlair, gets the 1, 2, 3, and the Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate gets the better of Silas LaFlair yet again. Is Silas LaFlair going to put all the blame on Curtis King, or will we see Curtis and Silas keep it together and try again in the future? But next up, it's the fan favorite, our new CKW World Heavyweight Champion, taking the stage, knowing that Last Stand is around the corner and his next opponent is already selected for him, as Rick Blade earned his spot in the Royal Rumble. Now Ace Rodriguez addressing the crowd, knowing that his job is not done against the Crash Out Club. He took out Magic, but he knows that there's more to come with Rick Blade on the way. There's murmurs behind the scenes that Ace Rodriguez might be a transitional champ, as Rick Blade has been one of the most dominant champions with the Liberty belt, and with him interrupting the promo, it only adds fuel to the fire. As much love as Ace Rodriguez has with the CKW universe, we know that Rick Blade is the heavy favorite in this matchup. But Ace Rodriguez is prepared for the mind games to begin, as he issues a match right now. This was just supposed to be some words between the two, but Ace wants to get a jump on Rick early. This could prove to be foolish, or this could prove that Ace Rodriguez is here to stay as your current CKW World Heavyweight Champion.
Counter. With an evasive maneuver.
Guys, we could be looking at the start of one of the all-time great sports entertainment rivalries.
And this match, if this is a taste of what we're going to get at Last Stand, we are in for a treat, because Ace Rodriguez holding his own regardless of what the people may think. He gets Rick Blade down to the ground, goes for the frog splash that won him the title, but Rick is able to avoid it, and you know this is not a match without a perk slam. The 1, 2, 3 being counted. Psych gets to a 2, and Ace Rodriguez surviving, now set up for another frog splash, this one to end it all.
Yet another exclamation.
Ace Rodriguez gets the 1, 2, 3, and our champion shows that he is the real deal, and this might start to change the minds of some who believe that he might not stand a chance. Next up, we have Adonis Galliano. We know of his saga right now with Loco Lopez. Loco Lopez and Adonis Galliano set up for a one-on-one match right now. He wants to put the kibosh to all of this. Still not entirely sure why. Well, until we got our answer. Loco Lopez making it known that there were some deals behind the scenes where the FRO was going to be set up to be a part of Legacy Inc. And Adonis Galliano came around and in Loco's mind stole him. But the fact remains that the FRO saw a brighter future in helping Adonis grow than being a part of another faction where it just seemed like everything was chaotic. Loco did not like that, and he's going right for the person that he believes ruined everything, Adonis Galliano. And now we're seeing a one-on-one opportunity here. Loco Lopez looking to assert his dominance, going for the pin count here. But Adonis might have actually been learning something from the experience he has been getting with the FRO, getting the pin count over Loco Lopez. And now the cards are back in the favor of the dynasty. Adonis Galliano gets the one-on-one victory against Loco Lopez. But now, as we are a week and some change away from the biggest show in CKW Last Stand, the crowd sees a new Titantron that they have not seen before, as their current CKW Liberty champion Curtis King walks out to the stage wearing all pink. People start to cheer. They believe that it's officially happened, and it really has, as Silas LaFleur comes out with them, and the duo that we saw once hate each other have now officially become a tag team, as the Pretty Kings have been revealed. Now, it's no question that Curtis King is leaning in and really wants to put his best foot forward and help Silas LaFleur climb from the bottom of the power rankings back to the top. But Silas LaFleur is still not entirely sold with his recent history of tag team partners turning on him or betraying him, and also with his ill feelings towards the champion. But for right now, Curtis King choosing to be by Silas LaFleur's side in his matchup with Lucien, who is also a member of the Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate, as he is accompanied by Havoc. And we know that right now Havoc and Silas LaFleur have a beef that they are trying to settle. But Havoc right now with the upper hand in winning the singles match and winning the tag team match. Silas needs this win desperately against Lucien. But no matter how good Silas LaFleur looked in this match, Lucien getting the big Hurricane Rana drop, and Lucien gets the victory. And right now, Dreams and Nightmares are just getting the better of Silas LaFleur. And while that is going on, we saw Adonis Galliano get the better of Loco Lopez the prior week. But now, knowing why Loco has the problem with Adonis, Adonis taking it personal, goes to the stage and he is yelling at Loco Lopez, telling him that he is just a sorry crybaby, using his lack of negotiation abilities as an excuse for losing out on the FRO. And Loco Lopez, if you know anything about the name, did not take that lightly, as Adonis Galliano, after a big win the week prior, gets dropped. And we are going to see these two face off at Last Stand, with the GM taking to social media saying that this match will be a match for the FRO, basically stating that whoever gets to the top of the ladder first gets the FRO on their side. More to come about that, as our current CKW Liberty champion takes to the stage after the upsetting loss by Silas LaFleur. He needs an opponent for Last Stand, as he has been on a hot run defending his current championship. He's talking to the audience, saying that there's a lot of amazing people backstage, a lot of people worthy of going after him for this belt, but he's not sure who's next until...
Looks like he's...
Your eyes do not deceive you. Curtis's best friend, former tag team mate, and former partner in Terminus the FRO takes to the stage and he is accepting the challenge. The FRO has been looking for ways to get a chance at the belt, and he figured the best time to do that would be in a match to settle and show the world who in fact really ran things in Terminus. Was it the FRO or was it Curtis King? And with the belt on the line, Last Stand is going to be interesting. Now it's main event time as Magic is set to match up against Ace Rodriguez. First time Magic gets to see Ace since losing the championship, but look who's joining the matchup. Rick Blade, who is going to be Ace Rodriguez's opponent at Last Stand, looking to watch along as his buddy Magic faces off against Ace. And this is what we talked about, the mind games of the Crash Out Club showing its ugly head right now. Does Ace believe that Rick Blade will just stay on the sideline and watch the match, or will he interfere with this matchup between him and Magic? Things looking good for Ace Rodriguez, getting Magic over the top rope. Magic on the wrong side of things, and Ace just cannot get his mind off of Rick Blade. Focusing on the wrong person, Rick Blade letting him know as Magic is ready to go and attack Ace, but Ace uses Magic as a weapon, throws him right at Rick Blade, and Ace Rodriguez looking like the champion he is with the crowd on his side. But never use the king of the crash outs as a piece of your story if he isn't the main character, because that would be the last time Ace Rodriguez would ever get a good hit on Magic. Magic getting turned around, gets the counter on Ace Rodriguez, traps him, sends him down, goes for the 1-2-3, and Magic wins the one-on-one match against the new champion, leaving people wondering if the current champion is ready for Last Stand. Well, we're going to find out next week as we get prepared for Last Stand, where Ace Rodriguez opens up the show to have some words with Rick Blade, and anticipating that there would be just a conversation, Rick Blade surprises the champion by bringing out the big man, Jerome Briggs. And Jerome Briggs doesn't want to talk. He wants to fight. So this conversation that we were expecting to open the show is going to turn out to be another match for our current champion. The Crash Out Club is sending out the gauntlet to apply pressure to our current champion, and Ace Rodriguez, though he has done a great job up until this point, except for the loss against Magic, this is also a very steep hill to climb, especially still suffering some injuries from the loss to Magic the week prior. But Ace Rodriguez not looking to turn down a challenge. Jerome Briggs takes advantage, a drop of the leg for Jerome Briggs on the current champion. Looks like it's over, but it's not. Ace Rodriguez gets himself back up, a Hurricane Rana drop, getting Briggs in position. The frog splash that ends it all. Match after match will end another one, and Ace Rodriguez has survived the countless attacks by the Crash Out Club, and this has many fans believing that maybe Ace can retain and hold on to his belt at Last Stand, and we will get that next week. But with Magic getting a huge win against the former champion, he is now calling his shot against the one who took him out and forced him to lose his belt in the gauntlet match. Magic going after Dean McCarthy, and he's looking to solidify himself a match against Dean to end this once and for all after losing his final defense the way he did. Dean McCarthy never had an answer, suffers the loss, and we're going to see these two in an Extreme Rules match at Last Stand. Magic, a man on a mission. But now we get to see a familiar face, as Kennedy Michaels behind the scenes since joining Dreams and Nightmares has been garnering win after win after win, and he's looking to continue it against one of the hot upstarts in Brody Daniels, gaining some wins. This one would be a big victory for whoever gets the dub in this match, but it is a hard-hitting match between Brody Daniels and Kennedy Michaels. But there's an interesting twist that happens midway through the match. As Brody Daniels is getting the best of Kennedy Michaels, we see the injured Michaels Michael Te'o, who's been out for a few weeks, return and is looking like he's returning to defend Kennedy Michaels, but that's not what's happening as he lands a cheap shot on Kennedy Michaels, turning his back on the Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate, but more importantly on Kennedy Michaels, helping Brody Daniels to hopefully close out this match. But Kennedy will get back up, he will survive the attack, and he will win this match, getting the victory over Brody Daniels. But now he has his eyes set on his former friend Michael Te'o, the one who made the call to even bring Kennedy Michaels back into the fray. In our going home show, we're going to see the two face off to open the night. Michael Te'o being escorted out by security as we're getting a one-on-one between Brody Daniels and Michael Te'o. Brody Daniels not happy with Michael Te'o, even though he gave him quote-unquote help. He is not happy that Te'o interrupted a match that he believed he could have won on his own, but because of the interruption, it forced Kennedy Michaels to find another gear and get the win. Brody Daniels looking good in this match against a new and improved Michael Te'o. Brody dropping Michael Te'o, but things would only turn around in the favor of Te'o. He gets the victory, and he's feeling himself after leaving Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate the way he did, but not without Kennedy Michaels getting the last laugh. The same way he interrupted him, Kennedy Michaels now attacking Michael Te'o, and these two will be set to face off at Last Stand. And speaking of Last Stand, Dean McCarthy now trying to get his just desserts, taking out Magic before his big match, and these two again facing off at Last Stand. But right now in the coming home show, he's gonna make sure he leaves an imprint in Magic's mind. Magic taking on Alexander the Great, who was also in that gauntlet match, and you can tell that there is a theme here with Magic's revenge tour, getting the best of Ace Rodriguez, then getting the best of Dean, and now gets the best of Alexander the Great again. But his focus is on Dean McCarthy. Winning the match goes right to Dean, and we see this regularly in CKW. If you don't leave, then the fight will continue. Magic, Dean, this will be fun. And last but not least, to close out, Silas LaFleur, who has been handed nothing but losses since starting this rivalry with Havoc, facing off against him one last time in a steel cage. No Uncle Ben, no Curtis King, just him and Havoc obliging by the same rules. Everybody in the Dreams and Nightmares Syndicate will stay in the shadows as Havoc looks to handle this once and for all. And this time in reverse, we're seeing Silas LaFleur start off with a bang against Havoc. We're typically used to seeing Havoc start off these matches with aggression, but gets a few blows in and goes right to the top of the steel cage to try and get out. Havoc, though, up in time to take care of that, bringing Silas LaFleur back into the stage, well, with some force.
Face first into the cage!
And now Havoc is on the offense. Havoc going after Silas LaFleur, looking to try and choke him out in a submission win, but Silas LaFleur is going to somehow find a last breath, get out of the chokehold, and this is where things would go all Silas. Gets one leg drop on Havoc, and he finds a way out, surviving and finally getting a victory in a match that meant the most, wrapping up this storied rivalry between Havoc and Silas LaFleur. But here we are in the show of shows, Last Stand. This is the WrestleMania for CKW. Everything ends here for what has been a great start to this new season. This would be a phenomenal end to this year as we get ready for some new storylines after Last Stand. But it starts with the title match for the CKW Liberty Belt, the Friendship Rumble, if you will. The FRO facing off for the first time in their careers this season against his buddy, his pal, his former tag teammate, Curtis King, the current champion, the current face of the CKW Liberty Championship. Intros are real emotional as we see both of them on each side of the ring, knowing that there's no ill will but this is the first time the two will throw blows since their tag team run together, as they were the one-time longest reigning tag team champions. Now they are opponents in one of the biggest matches in Last Stand history, and this hopefully will not disappoint. But again, the bigger question is here, but a lot of people believe that the FRO in their Terminus run carried a lot of the load for Curtis King. Curtis King being the mastermind behind things, but the two of them always stated that this was a partnership. They both ran things. They both fought when they needed to fight. They both made decisions, but people outside never believed it. And now it's going to come down to this one-on-one. Fro getting the first opportunity for the 3 count. Curtis gets out immediately after the 2, and now he's turning things around, using cutters, using everything in his arsenal, setting up the glorifying stomp to hopefully end things.
Gonna fly with the boom stomp.
Perfect execution by the champion.
And he will do just that in a historic match between two good friends. Curtis King survives his toughest defense yet, emotionally and physically, against the FRO. The FRO's night is not done as Adonis Galliano fights to keep Dynasty alive. If he's not able to get the contract off of the rope before Loco Lopez, then the Dynasty will be no more. Loco Lopez taking this serious because he would love to have the muscle of the FRO on the Legacy Inc. side, but it wouldn't just be Fro, it would be Adonis as well. Now with Loco Lopez down on the floor and unconscious, Adonis going for the contract, but Lopez sending the ladder away, and this one is not over yet. So many moments in this match where it looks like Adonis Galliano has had the better of Loco Lopez, but Loco Lopez ready every single time for Adonis to go up for the contract, but this one might have been the final blow. Loco Lopez knocking Adonis unconscious with no fight back from Adonis Galliano. Loco Lopez is almost done. He gets the contracts down, and Fro's night only got worse as the new partnership with him and Adonis Galliano ends before it could even begin. Legacy Inc. absorbs the FRO's talents, and now he is the newest member of Legacy Inc. that is slowly growing by the day. There was a loud gasp in the audience as no one could believe that that would be the result. But we're going to see more on that in future videos. But now, the Tag Team Championship on the line. The Crash Out Club, one last shot against Dreams and Nightmare Syndicate. Game Hunter, Victor Kruger, can they survive the Crash Out Club for the last time and never have to see them again? This time, an all-out brawl, as it is a tornado tag match for the belts. And as you'd expect in these kind of matches, it is an onslaught everywhere. Jerome handling business, Owen Dallas handling business, but don't sleep on our tag team champions. Victor Kruger is asserting his dominance. He's had a nice little run as of late, but when it comes down to things looking like it was going all Crash Out, you see Game Hunter using the blue mist on Owen Dallas, and Owen Dallas is dazed and confused. Game Hunter going for the pin count when Owen Dallas missed it. He's somehow able to get back up. The two of them are fighting in the background. Owen Dallas now able to get all the blue mist off of him, goes back after Game Hunter, hits him with a crazy upper hook, and this will be the end of the Dreams and Nightmare Syndicate run. The Crash Out Club have now become the two-time tag team champions, and the belts are now back with the Crash Out Club. Oh, wait, hold up. Don't mean to interrupt you announcing CK, but now I, GM CK, have to let you guys know what is coming up next. This is the first ever remix belt match, and we've decided to make it a gauntlet eliminator match. Well, Mr. GM, what is the remix belt? I will tell you real quick because I don't want this to last too long. The remix belt is a belt sort of like the briefcase, but is a belt that you will win only at Last Stand or at Slamma-Jamma, where you have a month to trade it in. And you're not trading it in for just a championship. Oh no. This match is for the bottom of the totem pole. I'm talking about the end of the power ranking competitors, the bottom 6. And the winner of this belt can use this, can trade it in the following month after Last Stand or Slamma-Jamma for the rights to whoever they want, their record, if they have belts, the belts, and if they have the briefcase, the briefcase. For example, right now, Magic's our #1 seeded wrestler in the power rankings. Whoever wins this match could trade in the belt, fight Magic. If they win, then boom, now they're #1 seeded and Magic now absorbs their record. Or if they go up against a Curtis King who has the belt and has a pretty solid record and they win, boom, they get Curtis's record and the championship, and Curtis now has the challenger's record. Makes sense? It will. But that's the remix belt, and it's gonna be fun. The match coming up right now. That's enough for me. Announcer CK, take it away. Thank you, CK GM. Here we are, the remix belt gauntlet eliminator. As you heard CK GM just announce, it is a match comprised of the bottom 6 wrestlers, and it's going to be in order. Our first 2 competitors are the top of our bottom 6, and then the rest will slowly trickle in as the match goes on. And Havoc starting the show, his ominous look. And next up, Drip Messiah, who in some people's mind could be the favorite in this match for the remix belt, but we will see who ends up winning it all. Is your first look at the remix title. I'm a fan of that sleek new look, but here we go, starting things off aggressive.
Look at this dead-looking.
All right, here we go. The chaos. Drip Messiah, Havoc wasting no time. All these competitors, as you would believe, want a chance at having a better record, as they have not started off the greatest this time around in season 2 of CKW. But again, there's still time for everybody to replenish records, but this would be a great fast forward to that change. It is just combo after combo. We're seeing Drip Messiah going after Havoc. Silas LaFleur immediately checks into the scene, goes after Drip Messiah. We know some ill will still there between those two. And speaking of ill will, Lucien joins the match, and Drip Messiah wastes no time as he beelines right to Lucien at the ramp as they're fighting it out. And with Lucien and Ben Wish joining the match, we officially have everybody in here at once. So now it's time for some eliminating to start to go on. We see Alexander the Great going after Lucien, cannot get the 3 count after a 1. Everyone is dazed and confused. Havoc down, Ben Wish down. It is just blow after blow. But now Silas LaFleur going after Alexander the Great. Who is going to be the first one to be eliminated? That is the question I have for you guys. If you're watching this, let me know who you think in the comment section below. And right now, could it be Drip Messiah, Lucien going after the pin? Drip survives it, but now Drip going after Ben Wish. Ben Wish in a compromising position, and Ben Wish, if that is who you chose, well, you were right. Ben Wish the first to be eliminated. Now Silas LaFleur going after Lucien immediately after. Back after Lucien was eyeing him the entire match. And Lucien the next to be eliminated. Now we are down to 4. Drip Messiah now going back after Silas LaFleur. This would be a very interesting matchup if Drip Messiah got rid of Silas, but he will not just yet. Immediately takes his talents to go over and face off against Havoc, but then jumps back over to Silas, going for the pin, a dirty one at that. The referee does not care because anything goes, and Silas LaFleur not able to get out of it. Silas now eliminated, down to the final 3 of Alexander the Great, Havoc, and Drip Messiah. Alexander the Great wants an elimination, and he will get an elimination, a big one at that, taking out Havoc. And we're down to our final 2, Alexander the Great and Drip Messiah. This would be a phenomenal turn of events if Alexander the Great is able to not only win the remix belt, but to take out Drip Messiah in the process. Does not get the pin count there, but I think his dreams are done as Drip Messiah, after a series of amazing moves, gets the pin count and becomes our first ever CKW Remix Belt champion. Who will he choose to trade the belt in on? We'll find out in the next recap. But next we have a match here, an underground match, if you will, between Kennedy Michaels and Michael Te'o. This one to completely end it all. We saw a friendship match to start things off, and this one is now a friendship turned enemy match between these two. Both of them kicking the cameraman and ready to go. But unfortunately for the big fella, Michael Te'o, this match was never in question. No matter how much Michael Te'o tried, Kennedy Michaels gets the big kick to the jaw and gets another victory. Michaels on a win streak right now. And more beefs need to be settled as Magic sees himself in this one-on-one Extreme Rules match against Dean McCarthy, two of the best champions of this new season, facing off with no belt on the line, just pure animosity and beef. But the same way it happened a few weeks ago, it will end here tonight as Magic gets the victory once and for all against Dean, solidifying his revenge on the one that lost him his belt. But speaking of his belt, Rick Blade looking to be the new holder of the CKW World Heavyweight Championship as he takes on the current champ, Ace Rodriguez. The people are behind Ace as champ, and just like how the rest of the night is gone, the stipulation here is simple: anything goes. Both of these wrestlers ready to go. Again, though Ace Rodriguez is our current champion, it seems that the atmosphere is leaning towards Rick Blade possibly bringing the gold back to the Crash Out Club, but Ace Rodriguez is going to do everything in his power to make sure that will not happen. Rick Blade, though, starting things technical the way that we always would expect from the singlet wearer, but it's not going to be easy. We're seeing the drop kicks, we're seeing the flying moves, a pin count going for Ace Rodriguez. Does not get enough, but then we hear the music play. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to start seeing some people from the Crash Out Club try and interfere. Here comes Owen Dallas doing just that. Rick Blade on the wrong side of things, and Owen Dallas here to take some of the pressure off of Rick. And now the pendulum starting to swing in the direction of Rick Blade. Ace Rodriguez able to survive and get out of that pin count right there. Now another set of kicks again from Owen Dallas, and here we go. Ace Rodriguez getting a little bit of help on his side. Ben Wish, and now it is becoming a Legacy Inc. versus Crash Out Club type of match as everybody starts to trickle in from both factions throughout this entire match. Loco Lopez trying to do some damage to Rick Blade, but Rick Blade prepared, but it allows Ace Rodriguez to catch his breath. We also see Alexander the Great and Jerome Briggs enter the fray as those two face off in the background. Ace and Rick Blade focused on one another. Ace Rodriguez has Rick Blade right where he needs him. Jerome Briggs tries to interfere, but Alexander the Great stops him from doing that. Will this be enough to retain his belt? 1, 2, 3, it is. And with the help of Legacy Inc., Ace Rodriguez retains the championship, and he is still your CKW World Heavyweight Champion. And Legacy Inc. definitely came out of this with huge victories, also acquiring the FRO and Adonis Galliano. It looks like the tide might be turning towards the misfit group Legacy Inc.